Hi, it's Gary Kayye. We're here at DSE 2016. The show actually opens up tomorrow, but I'm joined by two of the bigwigs in our industry, I would say. Lyle Bunn, who knows more about digital signage than anybody I know. Good morning, Lyle. How are you?
Good morning. Nice to be with you again at a conference, the beginning of the conference.
Exactly. The show opens tomorrow, by the way. And Jose Avalos is in charge of all of Intel's presence in the digital signage and interactive world, right?
Yeah, I'm responsible for digital signage and what's called visual retail, which includes product categories that integrate digital signage as an ingredient, things like interactive whiteboards, intelligent vending and dispensing, interactive kiosks, those type of products.
And of course, digital signage players, and it's probably worth starting out by talking about market share, just to give you an idea how important Intel is to this industry and how this industry runs on Intel Inside, is that you have about a 75% market share. If you look at the digital signs that are around the world today, about 3 out of every 4 are using Intel chips, right?
That is true. We founded the digital signage business at Intel in 2009. And at that time, the analyst said that we had about 12% market share for the compute engines that drive the media players, that drive the displays in a digital signage network. And now the analysts say that we have north of 70%, in the range of 70 to 75%. So that is absolutely true. As you travel the world through airports and hospitals and hospitality venues, about 3 out of 4 signs are being driven by Intel architecture.
Well, I had a separate interview with Lyle that I'd love you to watch as well. So just go in the video search window and type in Lyle, your name, and he and I talked about sort of the state of the industry. But I'd like to talk about sort of the state of the industry as it is with Intel basically being a big infrastructure company. Do you see more of this type of a structure? Because, you know, when I first came to DSE, it was a bunch of little boxes sitting on a table, and there were a bunch of little media players, and there were a bunch of separate software companies, and there were a bunch of other companies making mounts and things. But now, like, you go into the Intel space, and what you see in their booth is applications of products. Is that the future?
Much more integration of Internet of Things, Internet of Self, with messaging, with display, with engagement and interaction, and all those little boxes that used to be are returning into our marketplace, where we'll even begin to see at this show, I think, chip on a stick and a USB-driven digital sign, and we'll see sensors for RFID and emitters like beacon and NRF, and so we'll see a lot more components coming together to deliver a much higher value proposition.
And for that to happen, your company is going to have to provide more than just a processor. The chip on the stick concept is going to mean that you're almost going to have to provide almost a media player and a CMS integrated into that, aren't you? Aren't you going to have to kind of go a little bit further than just providing processing power?
Well, what we're doing is we're trying to, first of all, we're trying to create a value chain where everybody benefits, right? So when we started the business, a lot of the focus was on ingredients, exactly what you said. You know, a lot of companies were talking about, how do I get my piece of software there? How do I get my piece of hardware there? Where the discussion has changed now, where we focus on what is the solution that we're going to drive to solve a problem for a retailer or for a brand that actually benefits the end consumer. So from an Intel perspective, what we try to do is develop ingredients that will go into the solutions, but we first start by having a dialogue with the brand or the retailer and understanding, okay, what problem are we trying to solve, and how is that going to make the life of the consumer better? So we start with that, and then we decide how do we apply technology to that. So as we move forward, you're right, we're working on solutions. So what we try to, in terms of media players, we try to offer solutions that can address entry-level, mainstream, and high-end applications, and also offer them in different form factors. So if a company wants to buy just a microprocessor from us, they can buy that. If they want a reference design to make their own media player, we can provide that. If they want a turnkey solution, they can buy one of our NUCs or one of our compute sticks. So you're right, we offer different form factors at different levels of performance to make sure that customers can deliver the right solution for the right problem or the right pain point that they're trying to solve for the brand or the retailer or the hospital or the any venue, right, that the digital signage goes into.
Well, offline we talked about, you gave me an example of Costa Coffee, the second largest coffee company, I believe, in the world, and how you helped them in Eastern Europe. And what I think is unique in the relationships that you form with companies, and you can tell me if I'm right in this, I don't know there are a lot of companies that do this. you're really not trying to sell them anything. You're trying to sell them the concept, and then you're putting all the pieces together by bringing in the right vendors based on what they want to accomplish. So in that case, you brought a vending machine company together with a digital signage company, with a media player company, with a quality control group, and then the distribution channel together to solve a problem for a coffee company so that they can enter in a market without a brick and mortar stores, from what I understand. Are there companies?
It's all about integration, Gary, and you've been onto this for a long time now. And integrators have to be smarter today than ever before, because it's not just creating a pick list of what's available on the shelf and then knitting all the pieces together. It's really starting at the end point, and that is, what is the brand, what is the retailer, what does that communicator, that messenger really want to do? And then let's work backwards to engineer, to create the right composition of product technology capability.
But there are not a whole lot of, I mean, there aren't a whole lot of Intel-like companies out there to do that are not in sort of their own interests. Like there's big software companies, but they want to sell their software. And there's big media player companies, and they want to sell their media players. And what Intel offers is they're not trying to sell anything. They've already made the sale to the media player company to integrate their technology. They've already made the sale to the chip on the stick company. So will we see more like this, where you see more of a relationship kind of thing coming from
Costa and that process of Costa?
Yeah, Costa Coffee came to us and they basically said, look, we want to expand it into Eastern Europe, but we don't want to make the investment of brick and mortar at this time. So we work with them to develop an intelligent vending machine that integrated digital signage as an ingredient, that integrated an amazing experience for the consumer, delivering fresh coffee, right? So because they wanted to make sure that they address the omni-channel concern, to make sure that they have the right level of quality of coffee, regardless of whether a consumer was going to a brick and mortar store or pulling coffee out of a vending machine. By developing the solution with them, they were able to expand within 6 months to 5 to 6 countries in Eastern Europe without opening brick and mortar stores. So really what we were solving for them was a business problem with a solution that added value for the consumer, because they were delivering fresh coffee with fresh ingredients that is representative of their brand.
Right, and just happened to involve technology and happened to involve digital signage.
Right.
So you and I talked offline, and we did another interview about sort of the state of the industry right now. You bullish on the show? What do you think?
Totally. You know, there are some numbers that are driving this. There were, Wall Street Journal reported in 2010 that there were 39 billion visits to retailers in North America. By 2015, that number had dropped to 13 billion. So imagine losing 2/3 of your foot traffic in your bricks and mortar store. So here we are at Digital Signage Expo 16, the 12th year of this event, of this annual event, and we're seeing ways which, as Jose has described, we're bringing solutions to business problems. The work that, for example, Intel has done in China in solving problems in the banking sector by integrating a cash dispenser and an ATM, a teller machine, with promotional signage. That single unit, that single device now goes on location and is the virtual branch. So solving those problems is the future of digital signage. That's what we're going to see this year, I think, on the show floor.
So we're actually going to go to the Intel booth. We're going to shoot all the little application areas that you have to show the demo of how they're putting together systems, really, more than just products. So all you have to do is go in the upper left-hand corner in the video search window and type in Intel. If you don't know how to spell them, you probably haven't been alive very long, because they're a big player in the I don't know, the PC industry and the Mac industry. And so you type in Intel, you'll see all those little application areas. Congratulations on your success. Congratulations on all that you've done, and your division is just setting an example for other companies to follow.
Thank you very much. You know, it's a pleasure. We've been coming to DSE now for a number of years, and it's a great place where the industry comes together. And I feel that this year we're having the right level of discussions. We're talking about solutions. We're talking about effective measurement. We're talking about programmatic, so that we can make the whole advertising buying process and sales process basically seamless for companies, right? Today is very difficult. So we having the right discussion. So as an industry, I'm really, really bullish. Today there's a tremendous inequity between the number of eyeballs that we get and the amount of advertising dollars. So if we can solve those problems with effective measurement and with programmatic, I think we're going to see nonlinear growth in an industry. So I'm very bullish.
Yeah, and obviously that money that's being spent on television advertising has to go somewhere because the agencies have the money to spend, and they just don't know how to measure their ROI properly because we're not giving them that accurate measurement of eyeballs. So Lyle, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see each other again around the show floor. Thanks for watching, and of course we got a lot of work to do here at 2016's DSE show here in Las Vegas. So keep watching, keep paying attention. We're going to shoot at least 300 or 400 videos here in the next 2 days.
Very good.